The Grand Slam is complete. What an amazing week at the Masters. Congrats, Rory. Yeah. I think he's back to form. He fell off a little bit last year, but he also was named Ryder Cup captain. Give me speed grab. Whoo! What a week!
What a week. Wow. I'd like to ask you what you did this weekend, but I know what I did this weekend, and it wasn't play golf.
Oh, here's what I did this weekend.
I'm going to quote Bradley really quickly and just say drink.
Oh,
It's the easiest answer to that.
proudly.
I mean, really? Wow. And he humble brags.
What a week.
Yeah. We need to we're going to get to this. There's a lot. I've got 4 pages of notes here. I mean, unbelievable.
It was a hell of a week, a crazy finish that never should have been that way. But to be honest, it made it so much more exciting than it needed to be. So much more.
I have questions when we went about a lot of things here. And I literally I don't even know where to begin with my notes. The Masters never disappoints. It's the one thing about this golf tournament. It's the one thing that is amazing about it. And I think it's the one reason all of us get sucked into it. And I can't tell you how many. I sat on the couch both Saturday and Sunday afternoon, and there's a lot going on. Greg, you know, I've got a very busy next 48 hours in my world here down in Orlando. I should have been working and prepping for the next 48 hours, and I didn't do any of it because literally my TV just sucked me into watching what I would say in my lifetime was arguably the 3rd greatest Masters in my lifetime.
Well, here, let's do this. Let's get into the first round, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Are you always looking for a safe and accessible place to store your phone in your cart during a round of golf? Well, our friends at Desert Fox Golf have the perfect solution, the Desert Fox Phone Caddy. Just strap it to the cart window frame and you're all set. Also worried that you will miss your favorite podcast, The Golfing Dad's Tavern? They have a solution for that as well. Just add their DJ10 speaker so you don't have to miss a minute of our show. Find these great products and more at desertfoxgolf.com.
Hey, get them in your NCAA teams. Check out desertfoxgolf.com. Check out.
I've got some coming in, by the way.
Hey, I got the ones I need, so
I'm gonna wrap Go Knights Charge On. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap the UCF ones. I think
Boom.
our hometown team here in Orlando, and what a cool idea with the collegiate logos on them. And if you haven't, don't forget discount code Golfing Dads.
15% off.
15% off, and
more teams coming. So there'll
more
be
teams coming.
We'll announce more NCAA
yes.
teams that are coming. I had a fun week. I'm just saying. The course was in phenomenal shape,
even with the rain they got on Monday.
Well, let's talk about that first. That I thought was a great move by Augusta. That if you had a ticket for Monday,
yep,
they opened the doors an hour late, let you in at 8:00. They normally open at 7. At 11:30, the weather was too bad. They shut her down.
Yep,
and Augusta was closed. The weather was terrible that day, and
you weren't far from there. How was the weather where you were in Hilton Head?
It wasn't bad where I was on that day. It came that night. That night it poured, and the weather was terrible. Lightning, it shook my parents' house. Like, that's how bad the lightning and thunder was. But Augusta, best move. They always make the right choice at Augusta.
They do.
And to give the people not only their money back, but now they get first crack at Monday tickets next year, which takes that out of the lottery for everyone else, which for like the rest of us that weren't there for Monday, that sucks. But to be honest, I'm not disappointed because I think that's the right thing to do. I am glad that they did this.
Here's the thing with Augusta. And if you've never been there, you can kind of understand this, but understand that they don't ever get it wrong. They do. Going to the bathroom is an experience at Augusta. Literally.
Hold on. I got to tell you about that. So I went to the bathroom at Augusta across from the merch.
I'm very familiar with it. Yep.
You know where this is.
Right where you are. Yep.
So I'm going in there, and the two attendants that are in the bathroom, one of them comes up with the greatest saying where you can't say this as an announcer, but you can say it in the bathroom. So he goes, if you're going to the front 9, you're on this side, and if you have to go back 9, you're on this side.
That guy for the win. Man, that's amazing.
It was the funniest thing. And everybody started laughing that he did front 9 this side, back 9 this side.
Yeah, no.
And we all knew what he was talking about.
Right. So let's start Wednesday. You were there Wednesday.
I was there Wednesday.
You were there for the par 3. Where'd you hang out on the par 3?
So when we went 2 years ago, so luckily, like now I've been there twice and had the privilege to be there twice. We sat on 7, and 7 was an amazing location, but you only see hole 7. So, but you see everybody come through, and they run right past you. They interact. The kids are running up. It's a great hole.
And if you had watched that day, you also saw us on TV because that's one of the TV holes.
You did. And so that was fun to sit there for that day. This year, we sat on the opposite side of 7 on the hill that they hit over you to 8 green, and you can see the 9 green.
Okay.
And it was phenomenal sitting there. We walked the whole par 3 first. So we walked every hole. We followed the Hogardens and Rose. The 3 of them were playing together. We followed them. Just walking the front 9. Then we sat on the 8th hill and looked over everything, and it was an amazing view. And I recommend that spot. I mean, I don't want to give away that spot if I get to go again on a Wednesday,
right?
Because
I think that's a good spot. No, you're right there. That is a good spot if you're familiar with the property. That's got to be a great spot to watch from, and that might be one of those spots. Let me ask you, because have they added? Can you go down and get crow's nest on the par 3, or do you still have to walk back to the course?
So no, but they now have a merchandise shop on the par 3. Found that out. It's part of the concession stand. It's all the way in the back. You still cannot buy alcohol on the par 3. That is still the same. You can buy just pretty much drinks only at the one stand, and the stand that's in the back on like the 4th hole now is the restroom, merchandise, and concession stand for the par 3 course. So all of the par 3 merchandise, like actually if I lean over, there's a par 3 pin right here. All of that was not in the regular merchandise shop now. It's back at that shop. So I didn't realize that.
Nice.
So it was really cool to kind of see all of the changes. We were there the first year they redid the par 3 course. That was the year we were there. So kind of knew what it was, but they've made those little enhancements as we've gone along over the past few years. So, but the 8th was a great place because you're seeing people hit over you. You're seeing like every time it was like, oh, not a hole in one. Like you were watching that over and over again, but you're watching 2 different holes. So you're looking over here and then something happens over here. So you got to like really go back and forth. So it was a really fun place to sit.
And I want to ask, I know I'm asking a question that I know the answer to, but I think it would be fun to talk about. You ran into some of our previous guests while you were there at Augusta.
I did. So I first ran into Mike from Makefield Putters.
Mike Dinda, one of the absolute great. If you are not following Mike Dinda, by the way, on social media, you need to go follow Mike Dinda from Makefield Putters. He's killing it. He's such a great dude. Friend of the show and just a good dude. So I may actually see him here in a couple weeks.
When you're up
may
in
or
Philly.
may not be. I'm gonna be up in Philly for the Truist. So yeah.
So I ran into him. We had talked because I knew he was in town. We kind of just saw that he was in.
Yep.
We were both in Hilton Head for a little bit, and then we were both going to be at Augusta. We ran into each other on the 18th tee box. Just happened to run into each other, and I helped him win a bet because him and his friend Steve had a bet on who would meet someone there that they knew first, and I helped him win that bet.
Nice.
Then, not a few minutes later, walking up 18, get up to the clubhouse. And
let me ask you, we didn't walk up 18 when we were there. We walked up 10, which is a mistake, and don't recommend that to anyone. Is the walk up 18 a little easier than the walk up?
A lot easier.
Okay. I just need to ask that question as you go into that story. So sorry.
And so what we did is we actually walked, and I will say thank you to my tour guide this week, my dad's buddy Skip. He was our tour guide there. He took us everywhere. Had a great map out because there were 2 people that were with us that had never been there before. So we saw every single hole, and it was a great way to get around. So what we did is we actually walked to 10. We walked up to where Bubba made his amazing shot to win in the playoff.
Yep, and then we're gonna get into that because we're gonna get into
a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a whole bunch of stuff.
But we cut through there up to 18, then went to like the 17 green where I stood next to Scotty Scheffler's dad, talking to him for a few minutes, which was phenomenal.
Did you know it was Scotty Scheffler's dad?
I had a feeling it was, and then someone confirmed it with me that it was Scotty's dad when I was talking with him.
I'm disappointed, and I will say this. I'm disappointed that you didn't invite him to be on the Tavern.
Hey, I'm not going to, when you're watching your son at the Masters, I'm not going to invite you to be on the Tavern at that time. That's not the appropriate time to do that. But if he is watching right now, you're welcome anytime, Mr. Scheffler.
Anytime you want to come on.
So we walked to that gets you right to 18. I didn't realize on 18, like when you were watching it on TV, it looks like there's a cart path that goes right past the tee box that cuts through the fairway there. Not a cart path.
No.
It's a road that cuts through there.
Yeah.
It's a full road, which is unbelievable. But the walk up 18 is not as bad as 10 because it's really like this. Like if you're looking, 18 is flatter and 10 comes up like this. Yeah.
18's like
10 is like this.
Yeah. 10 is like Everest.
Get up to the 18th green in between the first tee box and the 9th green, that area. Run into our buddies and everybody from Eastside Golf. They were there.
Earl and Olajuwon. Man, those are good dudes right there.
Earl and Olajuwon said hey to me. We got to talking to them. You can see in the what I showed. Earl's in the photo with me. Olajuwon was there too. but he was talking to someone else when we were taking the photo, so I didn't get to talk to him until after that. And they had brought their alma mater's
Morehouse.
current golf team of Morehouse
Yeah, they brought
College,
Morehouse. Yep.
the whole team up, which
Yep.
I told Earl this. I said, I love how Earl and Elijah are growing the game. Like, they are doing what we talk about here better than anyone else that's out there right now with what they do with their apparel, what they do at all these events and bringing people to it. They are not just riding their fame right now. They are bringing people along to help grow the game, and kudos to them for that. So that was an awesome run in there. There were so many other people that I found out that were there that day that I just didn't get to run into. I knew some people that were there. My buddy that works for the USGA, Chris, he was there. We didn't get to
Tyler, one of our previous
Tyler
guests
was there
from the
and
club. Yep.
I will say, Tyler, if you are watching, you sent me a picture of the shirt you were wearing, and I thought, oh, that'll stand out. Nope. I found like 10 people wearing similar shirts like that on the par 3 on the 9th, behind the 9th where you said you'd be. So it was very tough to find you, which I thought was really funny as well. Jerry, I found out was there. The caddy, he was there.
Yep. He was there with, I believe, what's his name was also there with him.
The gnome.
No, I'm drawing a blank, and I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it because I sent him a message earlier today.
Yeah. So, but I saw that they were there. Didn't get to run into them, but it was a fun day. It was a great day to spend with my dad. So that was we've always talked about going and putting in for this every year, and luckily it finally happened. So we had a fantastic
Seth,
day.
by the way, he was there with Seth.
Oh, I didn't see. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yes, he was there with Seth.
Oh, that would have been good to run into him too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, phenomenal time. So,
let's jump into happy hour. Only because I want to keep it moving here and keep that 100%. Going. And let's talk about the. You know, I was sitting there laughing, watching our happy hour intro about what we're about to talk about because the interview we did with Megan Johnston. Megan is from Northern Ireland as well.
Yeah.
Grew up playing with Rory. We've talked about that. We talked about that off camera, and grew up with Rory. So again, Rory was my pick last week. I obviously won our. We'll get into that with odds, but.
It was all of our picks. You just won the duck race. Let's be honest.
I did win the duck race. Yeah.
So no matter who won the duck race, got Rory was what we were picking there. We all knew we wanted this year.
I teased this in the intro. I honestly think Jack in 86 to me rates as one of the absolute greatest days in Augusta National history.
Yep.
And I don't know that there's another day that you can put ahead of it. And we've had 89 Masters, and Jack in 86 is still. I think Tiger's greatest win is 19.
I do, but 05 was a big win too. So like,
yeah, I still think. I mean, I think 19, Tiger 19, where grown men cried on couches, much like we cried on couches on Sunday. Like that's where I rate this. Like, Tiger 97, I honestly think because of everything that it represented was a bigger deal. But it was very anticlimactic. We knew going into Sunday, like, show up.
You weren't catch. So yeah, that's the funny thing is my dad even said as we were watching Rory and the ups and downs and the emotions that were going through this, because everybody was cheering Rory on. Like, we wanted Rory to win because you wanted to see the Grand Slam, and he was doing so well. Then all of a sudden, the wheels started to come off, and my dad even said, he goes, Tiger wouldn't have let this happen. Like,
correct. I mean, the ball Tiger hit, the ball Rory hit on 13, that should have been 15, 20 feet left of the flag. Let's be real, because it trickles on down. Like, just a ripping wedge that it'll just grab there and just trickle on down. Be perfect. Tiger wouldn't have let that happen. Jack wouldn't have let that happen. I don't even think Nick Faldo would have let that happen.
But also,
honestly, it was one of the worst swings I've ever seen Rory McIlroy make. Like, he totally detailed and quit on it.
But I will say that the difference between, like, when I'm comparing what Tiger, Jack, and even you said Nick wouldn't have let that happen, is they didn't have the pressure that I feel Rory has been under at the Masters.
Okay, the fifth bullet point that I wrote, Rory, winning the Grand Slam was never going to be easy.
No.
But damn, what the hell from 85 yards on 13 is what I wrote. That's literally the bullet point that I wrote to talk about tonight. And I literally sit there and I'm like, huh? What? Like, you didn't expect that to happen. Like, that was a stock lob wedge. Like, that's nothing crazy for a tour player.
Well, when you left 12, so when you left the 12th hole, and at 11, Bryson fell apart. At 11, Rory had a bad chip up and made bogey, but you were still like, right, everything's fine here.
Bogey on 11 wasn't a bad thing, especially after the birdie on 9 and 10.
At 11,
bogey on 11, you're like, 11's the hardest hole on the golf course. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're not thinking anything there. You're thinking, okay, he had to make a bogey at some point.
Well, and I thought walking to the 12th tee, and I don't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but
yep.
My mindset walking to the 12th tee was one more swing. You've got one more swing to worry about, and that's the tee shot on 12.
Well, and I was the same way. Once he got off of 12 and he gets to 13 and he hits 3 wood off the tee, I was like, he's playing this conservative because he knows all he has to do is pretty much par in, and he's got this tournament.
And Bryson was out of it at that point. The guy in your group was out of it. He was gone. He choked on 11.
The only person that at that point that Rory probably didn't know about was Rose.
No, honestly, Ludwig too.
Well, no, Ludwig at that point was close, but Rose was charging.
Ludwig, they were all Ludwig never made it to that point, but Ludwig was climbing the leaderboard. He was
tied at 10 with them.
Yeah, he got to tied with 10 with them, and then 17 and 18 happened. Yeah. And I felt bad for Ludwig because, again, I do think that Ludwig will get his at some point.
Oh, 100%.
That dude's game is destined to get a green jacket.
But you got to 13. You got to 13, and I was like, okay. And then he's going to lay up on his second shot, and then he's got an easy wedge shot. And from that point in, his wedge did not work.
His wedge didn't work. He came out of, I thought, and this was my thought, he hit.
His driver didn't work all day. I'm going to tell you that much.
No, the best 2 drives he hit with his driver were the 2 on 18, the one in the regulation, the one in the playoff. He hit one of the second greatest golf shot I've ever seen on Sunday at Augusta. On 15.
Oh, okay. I was going to say which shot, because the one in the playoff on 18 was pretty good shot too.
Here's the problem. He hit arguably one of the one on 15 that he slung, and I'm going to be honest with you, like
he hit.
You know where I could have hit that shot.
No, I can't. No, mine goes the other way.
Yours goes the other way. You could have hit it the other way.
I can work it the other way.
The only shot that I'm going to put up there on a Sunday at Augusta that was better than that was Bubba from the trees.
Okay. Tiger hit the same shot on 15, and I watched a side-by-side video. Rory hits it closer, but Tiger in his win hits the exact same shot.
Here's my thing with that. He came up and out of that putt really quick. If you watch his left shoulder, he comes out of that putt. The minute he hit it, I said he missed it. They literally showed it. He missed it low because he came up and out of it. He came up and out of that putt, and the thing went left, dead left, right away.
First of all, he hadn't been putting well all day, and his putter was on and off throughout the day.
Right.
Wasn't terrible, but also you have to understand that's not an easy just knock it in the center of the cup putt. There, it was going to break on him, and you're right. He just missed it, and I knew when he got over it. I'm like, I had a feeling he wasn't making an eagle there.
Here's the thing, and the difference between Rory and Tiger. Tiger cans that thing right in the middle of the hole, and the roar is the loudest roar you'll ever hear.
Yeah,
and you move to the 16th tee.
Oh,
that's literally
had he made that putt there, it was over there, and we never would have had this.
It was over. Justin Rose's problem, and I'm going to say this: Justin Rose should have won the golf tournament regulation. He took too long to hit the putt on 17.
Yes, he did. My dad and I were both watching that, and I said he's going to miss this.
I sat on my couch, and he looked at it from all 12 sides of the hole and 12 times, and I literally sat there, and I was like, he has taken too long to hit this putt. There's zero chance he makes it. Zero chance he makes it. And
every time a pro does that, I'm always like, when they can't figure it out by that point, they're going to miss it.
Chance.
9 times out of 10, they're missing it.
I mean, you should go off your first look and just pull the trigger.
Yep.
And I literally sat there and I was like, when's he going to hit this thing? Because I feel like if we had a stopwatch, I mean, I honestly think it took him 5 minutes to hit that putt.
Which I get at the point you're at, you're in contention for the Masters. I get where you're doing that. This is not where I'm saying it's slow play or anything like that.
No,
but you overthought it. You overthought.
He overthought it.
Yep.
He put way too much thought into that and should have just gotten up, taken his first look, and just gone and ripped it in the back of the hole. If he does that, he wins the Masters. Yep. And having picked Rory, obviously I have a rooting interest in Rory. I will say this: I would not have been disappointed had Justin Rose won the Masters.
No, and the funny part that I thought was interesting was the last playoff was 2017, which featured Justin Rose.
I don't think Rory would have been upset if Justin Rose had won the Masters.
No, not at Justin Rose. He would have been happy for him.
He would have been happy for Justin. He would have been upset with himself.
He would have been demoralized. We would be having a different conversation today had Rory lost this.
Let me ask you this question. Remember back, David Duval. I want to go back to David Duval. Okay. David Duval knocked on the door, and all of a sudden kicked the door in and won, and the floodgates opened. Mm-hmm. Do you think, and this year sets up really good for Rory, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, when you look at the majors this year, 100%. He's got to be the favorite going into Quail Hollow because he's won a PGA there already.
He's won at Quail Hollow many times.
4 times. 4 times he's won at Quail Hollow. They're going, and I'll be there at Royal Portrush, the course he grew up. Of course.
I was about to say, don't go to Royal Birkdale. You'll be at the wrong course.
Royal Portrush, and then you throw Oakmont in there, and I mean, you can't win them all if you don't win the first one. I feel like he's got to be the favorite going into the second one based on the fact it's at Quail Hollow. Mm-hmm. Could we see it this year?
The script is there, and I think what makes it even better and makes it, if I'm looking at this, and this is where our buddy Dave would be odds with Dave is the perfect thing for him. If I'm looking at this, he slays his demons, both with having Bryson. He had to beat Bryson heads up on Sunday, which was his U.S. Open demon from last year, and his 14-year Masters or 11-year Masters demons that he's been trying to slay. He does both of that and wins the Masters. This sets him up perfectly for this, and like you said, the courses that are the next majors really set up for him well, and he has played well there in the past.
And they're golf courses you have to drive the ball well on, which he is arguably the best driver of the golf ball on the planet.
The storyline for this is perfect. Do I think it'll happen? No. Do I think it'll happen? No. I just think it's too hard to do in 1 year. It's taken him so long just to get the Grand Slam, and it's only been done 6 times in history.
Yes.
That it would be amazing. I think it would be awesome for him to do it all in 1 year and be a great storyline. But I think he will slip up. Do I think he can win 2 this year? Maybe 3? Yes. 4 would be unbelievable.
I do want to, before we get onto this, I know we talked about Justin. He made 10 birdies on Sunday. 10 birdies on Sunday. It made 1 par in the back 9. Like, his back 9 scorecard is stupid.
Yeah.
Like you're like, what did I just watch? Like, that thing had more curves than Space Mountain on it. Like, so you know what? Kudos to Justin. He played great. I'm not gonna knock anything against him. The up and down he made on 15 out of the bunker was amazing. The shot on 16 to make birdie was great, and then to birdie 18, amazing. Ludwig's problem was it was a 72-hole event, not a 70-hole event.
No,
if
that's
it was
true.
a 70-hole, it was a 70-hole event, he would have won. Bryson had 3 rounds in the 60s going into Sunday.
Well, he only plays 3 rounds. So
Here we go. Here we go.
Put that no, I don't.
I was waiting for somebody. You know what's funny? And I'm going to say this. You were the first person in media to say that, and I'm surprised nobody else went to that angle.
I say it as a joke because I don't think it really affects this, because I like Bryson. I think, and Bryson has said this himself, when he was younger, he thought he had to be like that villain and tough guy, and now he's actually, his actual personality is coming out with like being able to do these YouTube videos, being a player that's a fan of like the young kids and the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what he is doing for the game of golf. I don't like that he's on the Live Tour, but he's on the Live Tour, and that's great. And
Right.
I don't think, and he is prepared for this. What I saw out of Bryson this week was he could not dial in his irons. Like, he'd hit it short, he'd hit it long. His iron game was way off. When his iron game
had foul ball left a lot too.
Oh yeah,
like he had foul ball way left. Like it wasn't close; it was way left.
But on Saturday and Sunday, watching him, I swear every shot that he missed, he was like, "How did I just hit that far? Or why did that only go that short there?" Like He was so confused with his yardages. It was sad to see.
I will say this about Bryson. I'm going to give Bryson credit. Bryson is known for overpowering a golf course, and he has the ability to do it way better than a lot of other people do. I think that going into Sunday, he was 2 strokes up, strokes gained putting.
Yep.
And he was 1.5 strokes up, short game around the green. Mm-hmm. The bunker shot he hit from a plugged lie on 7 on Sunday, arguably maybe one of the greatest bunker shots I've ever seen somebody hit.
Yeah.
Out of that lie.
Unbelievable.
That was an unbelievable golf shot. I honestly think Bryson went with clickbait, and I do want to criticize him for this. When he was asked about his conversation with Rory on Sunday, I think his answer was very clickbaitish. I do. I don't think he should have gone down that they didn't have a conversation. Yeah, I because again, you can go back to 2019, and Tony Finau has this conversation where he says, I asked Tiger how are the kids as we're walking off the first hole. He said, great. And it was the last thing he said to me the entire day.
Yeah.
So Rory is out there trying to win the Grand Slam. Rory is locked and loaded. I think Bryson's quote went for a clickbait quote. I do. I think he went for the clickbait quote, and it's what the media has run with. And you look at some of that media that is like the shock and awe media that's out there on social media. They have run with that. Like, oh, well, Roy didn't talk to him. No.
I disagree.
Again,
I think that
the media has run more with it than they needed to.
Well, I agree with that. But I don't believe it's clickbait. I don't believe it's Bryson. I believe it's Bryson being Bryson. I feel he is one who, if you were to go play golf with him, it's like playing almost with you and I. He's not going to shut up. And the fact that Rory didn't talk to him, I think actually bothered him.
I would agree with you.
And I think it
got to him. I think that,
I think that's what it was. And I think also it was, I wonder what it was like at the U.S. Open. Like, because they didn't play together, if it would have been a different outcome, because Rory is so focused, and Rory is trying to play more casual and not get so stressed on the golf course, and he did that. You could see he was playing looser. He was not letting stuff get to him.
He did it for 63 holes.
No, but even then, he didn't let it get to him. You could see he wasn't like getting himself down. Like, that's why I think he was able to stay in it and win. But I think it bugged Bryson that Rory's not the kind of guy. He's focused, just like Tiger, where I look at it in the same way. I'm going to make an NBA analogy. Jordan and Kobe were the I want to destroy you type of player, where LeBron James is the I want to show off type of player. I will say this. Bryson is the LeBron James type player, and Rory is Kobe, and Tiger is Jordan. And that's
Correct.
That's what it is. It's their personalities. So I don't think it was clickbait. I just think it was their personality.
I'm going to ask a question, and this one's kind of painful for me because I don't think you're going to see it the same way I did.
Okay.
Rory wins, and we remember Tiger winning and walking off, holding hands with his kids, walking up towards scoring and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
Rory wins, and yes, he went over, hugged his wife, hugged Poppy, and then walked on his own. And we only have to go back to the PGA Championship.
Hold on. Walked on his own. Did you not miss the 90 hugs he had to give before he got to the scorer's tent?
Right. Now, I'm not arguing that. However, we only have to go back to the PGA Championship to remember that Rory flew to the PGA Championship and that morning had divorce papers served to his wife and a month later called them off.
Mm-hmm.
Was there some symbolism in the fact that he did not walk with his wife and daughter from the 18th green to where he was going into the green jacket ceremony?
No, because I think it's the Masters, and I'm not going to go down this because I think I don't want to drag his personal life into this whole thing. So I'm not going to go down that route with it. I don't think there was anything that was there. I think it's just you're so with emotion there, and you're going to Butler Cabin. They can't come with you. I wish that he would have, but I don't want to speculate on why or why not that was there, because that's what we do too much as the media.
So I'm going to say this to you. I actually agree with you. I think the emotion got to him at that point. I mean, he has wanted this for so long.
Yeah.
When you think about the fact everybody else had done it in their third try or less to win the career Grand Slam. It took him 11 tries to win the career Grand Slam, 17th Masters appearance. He had a stronghold on a Masters years ago. I honestly think that it was just the moment, and I will give him credit for that. I just wanted to get your take on that because, again, it's out there, and you want to comment on it. Let me
ask you a question.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
One of the comments that I wrote down, and I was recently out there. When you go to Vegas, the house always wins. You know that. And I'm going to compare Augusta National to Vegas, and that the Masters always wins.
Oh, 100%.
And this did not disappoint on any stretch of the imagination, other than, and we need to talk about it. And I don't know that we've ever talked about this on our podcast. I'm going to ask you, if you had to go to the bathroom, would you pee in Race Creek?
No.
It's a valid question at this point on Tuesday.
Topic. It's a good one to ask. I mean, for as much as Augusta controls everything. Augusta National controls everything out there. I would like to hear what the conversation was after the fact.
Do you notice, by the way, that he won the Low-Am and was not at the Low-Am ceremony?
Yeah, that's where I don't know what was going on.
There's some questions we could all answer there, but yeah,
there is. But I mean, when you got to go, you got to go. But if it was a player who had been there before and was not the amateur that was there, I think it would be a different story. But it's your first time there. Nerves get to you. You got to go to the bathroom. You don't know where everything is at this point. And
you're playing with, let's just be real. You're playing with Scotty Scheffler and Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. You and you've played with a Masters winner.
Yep.
You've played with a guy that has a seat on Tuesday night at the dinner. I've played with 2 PGA Tour and Champions Tour winners.
Mm-hmm.
It's an entirely different moment when you're playing with the defending champion and Justin Thomas.
Yeah, you're kind of like in awe of that. Like that's where I think that's kind of tough. So I mean, I give you credit. I mean, of all the places to do it though, Race Creek, man, come on, like that's
Right,
a
like that's like saying you're doing it in the azaleas behind the green, or you're doing it behind the 12th green. Like, what? Okay,
So,
cool.
so I would ask you a question that I thought was interesting, and I kind of agree with this player's comments. On Saturday night, after his round, Shane Lowry was asked about Rory,
Yep.
and do you think he's going to win tomorrow? And Shane was like, "I'm in contention to win this thing, and they're best friends, by the way."
Right.
And Shane made another comment that I thought was actually a pretty smart comment. They have to talk to the media. It's part of what they have to do when it's there. But they almost forced them to talk to the media too soon after the end of their round.
Yep.
And Shane said there should be some kind of gap in there. They shouldn't be able to talk to the media till after they have time to almost relax, change, let them get their head in a right place. Because if you had a bad round, you're probably angry or disappointed. And if you had a great round and they're trying to focus on the next day, you're focused on that and could say anything at that point. So,
right.
What do you think? Do you think it should change? Like they should look at how they have to speak to the media, and this almost goes for any sport because I always love the NFL players that have been running up and down the field, and they ask them a question, and they're like, "Oh, well, I did this," and they're exhausted, and we're trying to get this out of them. Do you think there needs to be that grace period of time before they actually talk to people, the media?
I'm going to answer this understanding that we know people that work for certain professional sports teams. Both of us do.
And we're in the media.
And we're in the media, yeah.
So.
And we're in the media. Here's my thing with Shane. I actually think Shane handled it perfectly as someone who was in contention.
Oh, 100% agree with that.
It's funny. My dad asked me about it. Okay, my dad was like, "What do you think about Shane's comments as a media member?" And I said, I wouldn't have asked the question. I would have asked Shane about himself. I understand why the question was asked. I also said to him that of all of the PGA Tour players that are out there, I would really like to have a pint with Shane Lowry before anyone else because I feel like it would be a good time. And he said, "No, I'm not arguing that either." He said, "I agree with you." I said, but here's my take on it. I don't know that there necessarily needs to be a window of time, because some people are better off, some people are not. So like it depends on the person at that point. The problem that I run into with the way the question was asked was, if Shane Lowry was in, and I'm going to use this as an example because again, Davis Riley finished 21st, right?
Yep.
If Shane Lowry is in the position that Davis Riley was in, okay, I'm like, okay, ask that question. Shane Lowry's on the leaderboard. Like, and I get the media was trying to make this a 2-horse race on Sunday. It was David versus Goliath. It was.
This set up what everyone wanted.
I mean,
the U.S. Open. Rematch.
CBS couldn't have asked for a bigger wet dream than that thing. Like, let's be real about it. Like, that was exactly what, from a media standpoint, you literally, if you're CBS, you're like, wait a minute, we have Rory and Bryson in the final pairing. It's PGA Tour versus LIV. It's two of the most vocal guys on the planet about their respective tours and where they are playing against each other, and the voices that have been there all along. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better story if you're CBS.
100%.
The problem that I have with it is, with the way the question was asked, is Shane Lowry still had a chance.
That's where the problem is.
Right. So
that was a dumb question.
It was a dumb question to someone who still had a chance. Like, if Shane Lowry was not in contention, had made the cut, finished early, and you're asking that question, I got no problem with that question.
If on Saturday Shane shot what he shot on Sunday, yes.
Right.
Ask that question. But
ask
not when question. He was within a few strokes at that point.
Correct. So That's where my problem was and it was an interesting week, and I'm going to say this as a member of the media. Did you see Xander Schauffele's press conference?
Mm-hmm.
Where somebody asked him a question, and Xander basically called the dude out for asking a dumb question, and then somebody later asked him another question, and he was like, "That's actually a really good question." And pointed out to the guy that asked the dumb question early on, and called the dude out. And I was like,
we need to be invited as media to ask these questions, because we will ask the intelligent questions and not the dumb questions that are out there, because there are some people that are getting invited to this that are asking some pretty dumb questions. I'm just saying that.
Can I say the quiet part out loud?
Yes.
You and I would ask the intelligent questions.
Well, I'm just saying, as a group, we'd work together.
We'd work together. So. We'd have our questions written in advance that we would want to ask people. So
can I say the best answer to any question this week? Terrell Hatton.
You know what? Here's the thing.
When he was asked, "Do you like this course?" and his answer is, "Do I like any course?" Come on.
Here's my thing with Terrell. Honestly, I actually miss him on the PGA Tour.
100%.
Because of his interview questions and answers.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that he's like every one of us that's gonna say dumb things and use curse words and everything else, that you're just like, that's why we want to play golf with him.
Look, so I want to ask you this question, because we're talking kind of live here and stuff, and with everything's going on in the golf world. When you saw some of these live players this week, did you have the same thought I did at times and go, "Oh, they're still playing golf"? Because that's where my mind went with like Terrell Hatton. I was like, "Oh, I had forgotten about Terrell Hatton," and then when he started doing interviews, I was like, "Damn, I miss Terrell Hatton."
Can I read the first thing? I read it to you earlier. Can I read the first thing that I wrote down on my the Masters never disappoints except when Patrick Reed wins. Like, I'm just going to leave it at that.
But even so, I was disappointed. I think people were disappointed that they didn't show Bryson enough on day one. But to be honest, you can pick and choose who you show.
It was a day two thing, though, and that was the problem that I like. Again, day two, Bryson was early, and people were complaining that he wasn't on feature group. Well, somebody commented on it, and I was like, they were complaining that Scotty was on versus Bryson, and I was like, Scotty won 9 times last year. Bryson won once.
Scotty's the defending champion.
Right.
Like, not only did he win 9 times, doesn't matter. He's the defending champion. He should be the feature group, which he was.
Correct. And it turned into, well, they're not showing Bryson because he's live. I don't think that's the case.
No.
Now, here's the thing. I will say this about CBS and ESPN. It was very heavy PGA Tour player.
Oh, 100%.
Whether we wanted it or not, and again, Bryson, we stopped seeing more of Bryson, and we started seeing more of Justin Rose when we got to the back 9 after 11. And I'm going to say this. I don't blame Bryson for the shot he hit on 11. I don't. The shot he hit on 11, he had to take a risk there because Rory was in trouble.
He just missed it.
He missed it.
The shot he took was the right shot.
I'm not going to criticize it. He pulled it and hit it in the pond. He was trying to hit it close to make birdie and make a statement. I'm not going to criticize Bryson for the shot selection. I actually think that was the right shot to hit. And I think any one of us, if we'd been in his shoes, would have tried to play that same shot. He overturned it. And again, his miss had been left the whole week. So when you're looking at a flag that's 3 from the left, and if you go 3 feet 6 inches, it's wet. Because that's literally that's where it would end up, especially turning that way. I don't blame Bryson for trying to hit that shot close. I'm not going to criticize him at all. But I also think that the TV coverage could have been better across the board. And I really wonder, and I'm going to say the quiet part out loud, Greg, and you can interject if you want to here. I honestly think there's more going on behind the scenes with the PIF PGA Tour thing. And I honestly would wonder what people know that are in power, that were in control of a lot of these things. And did the PGA Tour ask for this to be like, listen, we're going to control golf, and
I don't
you're
think
not
the
going to
PGA
get
Tour asked for this. I think that Augusta controls what is shown and what is not. Like,
Right.
the ESPN doesn't have to pay a dime to do any of this. CBS doesn't have to pay a dime to do any of this. And Augusta wants to show the course and the way that they want. They allow the live
Friday.
They allow the live. Yeah, I do. They allow the live players to play, and they want to get this better. But I don't think they want the drama either. And where this drama comes from is people that are on their couch complaining that they didn't get to see who they wanted to see. You know what? If you like live, watch live on whatever channel it's on now.
Fox, I think.
I know. So, but
the coverage still sucks. But that's
what an amazing finish! Congrats again to Rory.
Yeah, congrats to Rory. That was by far one of the absolute.
I would have liked a lot of less stress watching that. Like, that was like ups and downs. Like, I would have liked you to just kind of walk away with
we all texted each other. I think I texted you, I need a nap after that. Like, what did I just watch? My emotions were all over the place. You were like, what
is going on?
What's going on? Like, there were a lot of those text messages in our text group. I just think that the Masters never disappoints. Let's go back to that comment, and they get it right every single year, the same golf course. Let me ask you this before we get to Smack of the Week and then we go into last call. Do you think that the other three majors would be better off if they just played them at one venue, or are we just okay with the Masters being the only one that's played at the same venue?
I'm okay with the Masters being at the same venue. I think the Open and the U.S. Open keep the same. I like that they have a rotating and go through different things. The only one that I would say to do the same thing as the Masters would be the PGA. I would say pick a course if I'm going to take one. I don't want to do it, but if I was going to take one to say, hey, maybe, and I would also move the PGA back to the last one if we're going to do that. Have the first one and the last one be at like two locations.
Here's my question for you. And
if I was going to do that.
If we were going to do this, what if I told you that we're going to play the U.S. Open every year at Pebble Beach? We're going to play the Open Championship at St. Andrews, and then it would be Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, Augusta, and then insert one for the PGA.
No, because I think that the Masters is different than anywhere else. It's the course is conditioned different than anywhere else. In the fact that, like I said, it poured Monday, and on Tuesday didn't look like it rained at all.
Just don't ask Jordan Spieth that question.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, if you would have went anywhere else, it would have been muddy and but you would have seen it on TV. You don't, because of the systems they have in place there. So I like that where it is. I would get bored with the Open, and I'm going to say this, and you can hate me for saying this. I would love if it's at St. Andrews every year, but I'd get bored if it was at St. Andrews every year.
I wonder.
I agree with the same thing for the U.S. Open. I don't want to see it at Pebble every year. I like seeing it at a new location. I like seeing it go back every few years.
No, I'm okay with that. I just wanted to ask the question. So, all right, hey, let's hop into Smack of the Week.
I was putting well with my mindset all week playing golf.
I would have loved to have had more time to talk about where you were this week. I'm kind of jealous. I will say this. I do want to say thank you to Bridgestone. They showed up here this week. I've got to get them out to you guys, but we've got some new Bridgestone golf bags coming our way. So you will see
you'll see those in the future.
Bags. We'll see those in the future at some posts. So here is this week's Smack of the Week.
I'll try that again.
Wow.
I'll try that again.
I mean, you saw Rory throw a club twice, once in celebration and once because I think he had a stinger.
That one on 10 was, that was a stinger. Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into last call. I gotta switch hats.
Wow, that was a quick hat change.
Boom!
You're like Taylor Swift in wardrobe changes over there.
Wow, did you just compare me to Taylor Swift?
I did.
I'm going to say this. Swifties, do not get mad at me for that. I did not make that comparison.
A week on a course that we've all played.
Yes. We've all played together at the same time.
We played together, yes.
So I have played it multiple times.
Right. Yep. No,
I used to live there, so it's a great great track.
Honestly, it's probably got my second favorite par 3 I've ever played.
Okay.
Both of them were designed by the same guy.
Yup.
I still think the 14th hole at Harbor Town is one of the greatest par 3s ever designed.
You're not going to take 17?
No, I would take 4. If you told me I had to play one hole on that golf course and you could stand on any tee box, it would be 14, 100% of the time.
So I had an unpopular opinion this week. 16 is a better hole than 12 at Augusta.
The par 4?
No, 16, the par 3 versus 12 at Augusta, the par 3. At Augusta.
16 at Augusta. That is a really unpopular opinion.
16
I will never agree.
Is a more
I will never agree with that statement. Like, of all the things I'm ever going to agree with, I will not agree with you on that.
I love 16.
12 is the greatest hole ever designed. No questions asked. It's Picasso. It's the Mona Lisa of golf holes. But
I knew this was going to ruffle some feathers.
Hot take. That is the terrible hot take. I always find Harbor Town funny, and I love the golf course. It's one of my favorite golf courses I've ever played. I find it funny that the iconicness of that golf course and the thing that everybody thinks about, you don't see until you're at the 17th green.
And
like, you don't even see it at the clubhouse.
It's not even close to the 18th green.
Right.
It's further away than you think it is, people.
Right. So, no, again, that golf course from start to finish, it's one of those golf courses that whenever you get a chance to play it, it's a special place to play. It's a fun golf course. Greens are small. You have a birdie putt almost on every green. If you hit the green in regulation, you have a makeable birdie putt no matter where you are. It's just you've got to get to the green, and there are trees, and there's everything in the way on that golf course.
And the green is the size of a thumbtack.
Correct, and hitting a green there is hard.
So,
I feel like guys that hit a lot of greens are going to win there.
Long hitters don't normally do well here. They have won here before, but it's funny. A shot maker's course.
Rory hasn't played there since it's become a signature event.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for that. So, Scotty's won, and Scotty hits it a long way. Davis Love won there 6 times, and he hits it a long way. But yeah, no, it's a great track. Let's get into what
times.
Oh, it's 5 times. Okay, I thought it was 6. Let's get into odds with Dave, which really should be smack of the week. I'm just saying.
We had to do this to you, Dave, so I apologize.
Hey, I need to ask you. You got a chance to use your Nikon rangefinder last week for the first time.
So, what do you got to ask me about it? Because I'll tell you what I think.
My first question for you is, how was it on mini golf? And if y'all haven't seen that post, you need to go to our social media page.
So funny enough, that's the actual yardage I got to the hole.
Was 11?
I say the yardage was 11. It read it perfectly.
Now, I mean, I'm in love with the new Nikon rangefinder, but Greg, why don't you tell me your first experience with it and how you liked it this week?
So the one thing that I will say with it, it grabs the flag like that. Like when you are aimed at the flag, like it just like it grabs onto it. But that wasn't even the coolest feature that I realized. The thing that I realized, it actually took me a few times to realize, was the image stabilization. When you are looking through this thing and your hands like shaking because you're playing golf out there, all of a sudden, boom, it goes
It
from
locks.
shaky and it locks to this like image stabilization that is amazing. It's like when you're filming
Correct.
with a video camera that it keeps it stable and everything like that, which you don't get with a lot of rangefinders, which that's what I think makes this one stand out over everything else is
Yep.
that image
I would agree with that.
stabilization. And the second thing is how quickly it latches on to that flag is unbelievable. But the
Yeah.
yardages are spot on. It is the best rangefinder in the game right now, to be honest.
It is the official rangefinder of the LPGA Tour and also the Golfing Dads Tavern, for that matter.
Oh, and someone else might say that here in a second.
Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm missing you tonight, but
I had to put him sideways.
here
I'm
we
sorry.
have Odds with Dave, brought to you by Nikon, official rangefinder of the Golfing Dads Tavern and the LPGA. Pretty sure Steve already said that, though. So let's get into it. Probably outside of the four majors, the RBC Heritage probably has to be one of our favorite tournaments that happens during the year. They're on Hilton Head. Harbor Town is a great course. We've all played it. Yes, Bradley, I'll drink. But let's get into the quick odds here, and I'll turn it back over to Greg and Steve to make their picks here. So leading off, Scotty Scheffler, defending champion, right now coming in about 3.5 to 1. Colin Morikawa, 11 to 1. Xander Schauffele at 12. Ludwig at 12. Patrick Cantley at 18. JT at 18. Corey Connors at 22. Shane Lowry, Russell Henley at 25. Victor Hovland and Tommy Fleetwood at 30. And our friend with the Mindset Golf Ball, Jason Day, coming at 35 to 1. I'll send my picks over to Greg and Steve. Steve's got first pick this week because he won, and that brings his whopping total up to 98 points on our yearly challenge. Greg's sitting at 58, and I'm still sitting at 126. So we had a great week at the Masters, but Steve won, so Steve gets first pick, even though I had a top 15 and still finished, third. So we'll go Steve, then me and Greg. I'll send my picks over to them. Sorry I missed everybody tonight, but I'll turn it back over to Greg and Steve. Cheers, guys. Have a great one. We'll see you soon.
So,
we really could have made Dave
you had
recording
first. I had fourth, and he had 14th, I think.
14th, yeah. No, I think 16th.
No, okay.
But neither here nor there. It still doesn't matter. We really could have made Dave sideways the smack of the week this week.
I know. I thought about it.
But hey, so I'm gonna. Do you want him this week or no?
Who I had last week?
The defending champ this week, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to take him. I have who I'm going to take, and I have reasons behind who I'm going to take, and none of you are going to take him. So
I had thought about Colin Morikawa this week. I looked hard at him, and then I decided I was going to take Scotty Scheffler.
There you go. So
there we go.
I mean, and I could have taken Scotty still because it's a major and it doesn't count against our rules for that. The majors are exempt, which I was almost going to say your win doesn't count as the major rules, but I was going to mess with you and say that. So that means Dave is taking Corey Connors.
Corey Connors.
You
know what? I don't think it's a bad flyer pick. I took him a couple weeks ago in Texas.
No, I don't think it's a bad. I don't think it's a bad pick. My pick this week. He has won this tournament before, and he has won it when it finishes on Easter. And I was there when he won it in 2002. Jordan Spieth is who I am taking this week. He wins on Easter. And the last time he won in 2002, he missed the cut at the Masters and then came the next week and won at the Heritage. He did not miss the cut. He actually had a good finish this week at the Masters.
I was staying away from Jordan because I still don't think that he is healthy enough to win.
Here's the thing. Even though when he plays here and it ends on Easter, he wins. And I think he knows the course. He's won here before. There's my pick.
Well, as we wrap this show, congratulations to Rory McIlroy on completing the career Grand Slam. I appreciate you winning as someone who picked you last week.
We all wanted to pick him last week. We
did.
It pained me to have to root for him, and knowing that you got to pick him, like
it was like, hey, I'm okay with that.
I almost wanted Rose to win just for that.
But no, I do think that Harbortown coming off of the Masters is a great event, and I do think that this week is not going to disappoint. I will say this. I'm working on something for next week, by the way, for our interview segment for Happy Hour. That may be pretty cool. Maybe a place that has hosted a Capital One the Match interview next week.
No, all of ours is pretty cool, though. I think my thing just went out. Steve, did you?
I'm really fortunate, man.